All right. Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Odhiambo, and this is Political Headache. We had Joachim Simiyu yesterday, which was a big bang. And I've always had Odhiambo, who has also pushed the envelope. Odhiambo, how are you doing?
Perfect.
The political landscape of 2027 is shifting. Tectonic plates. Do you know what tectonic plates are?
In geography.
Yeah,
they can cause tsunamis.
When they are shifting.
Yes.
And I think Joachim was shifting it, you've been shifting it, you've been injecting it. And now Maraga went to Citizen TV and announced his candidature for 2027. There are things that I want to talk with you about.
All right.
And you are trying to take this conversation a certain way, but I want it to go a certain way.
Okay.
What we want to have is, a lot of people dismiss Maraga and say that he's not able to go through 2027 and become president. For obvious reasons. He doesn't have the money. Some people say he's a fundamentalist. Some people say he's too good. Some people say that he's too soft. Things like that. So, but I want to ask, because well, a lot of people thought Trump would not be president in 2022. And a lot of people also said that Ruto could not be president because Raila had the machinery, Raila had the government, Raila had the supporters. So that's what I want us to look at. How does Maraga become president? Especially knowing that we have got about 5 million voters of Gen Z in the tectonic plate. David Kenani Maraga is a retired Chief Justice of Kenya and a man whose name is now synonymous with judicial courage and constitutional integrity. Donge. Born in the rural village of Bonyamatatu in Nyamira County, Maraga rose from the humble beginnings to become the 14th Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya. Tough and powerful, right? He's best known for his historic ruling on September the 1st, 2017, when he led the Supreme Court into annulling a presidential election. An unprecedented act, not just in Kenya, but across Africa. Donge. Firm in faith and overwhelming in principle, Maraga built a reputation as a judge who could not be bought. A man who carried both the Bible and the Constitution with equal reverence. Throughout his legal career, from private practice in Nakuru to highest court in the land, Maraga became quite a symbol of resistance against executive overreach, judicial compromise, and systemic corruption. Whether he was standing up for independence of the judiciary or daring to ask the president to dissolve parliament for violating gender equity laws, Maraga consistently chose the harder right over the easier wrong. So this is the story of Maraga trying to become president in 2027. You have very strong opinion about Maraga, and that's what I want us to talk about. What are your strong opinions about Maraga, Mr. Odhiambo?
So first of all, I'll approach this as an analyst.
Okay.
And not as
a supporter. My
absolute self, which is Odhiambo Tieno.
Yeah.
Okay? Because as myself, I don't support the candidature of Maraga as much as he's an SDA like me, and he ascribes to the values of the church, and also has done quite well in his career. Because I am a politically aware person, I'm going to approach this from an analysis perspective. So with that, I have removed the biasness. Okay? And you've asked a very important question. How does Maraga then become president? Yeah. So you simply want me to make Maraga president in my head so that you feel happy. So let's approach it.
Not. You see now, I think that it is very difficult to thread a needle.
Yes.
But you can thread a needle.
Of course.
Right?
You can.
So we can talk about the difficulty of threading a needle, but at the end of the day, somebody with sharp eyes and precision can thread a needle. So we are looking at Maraga as somebody who can thread a needle, although he's old, 70, how many years? 72?
That's pretty young.
70 what?
That's pretty young.
If these girls are calling me old at 42.
Of course you are old.
So Maraga must be really a relic. Relic from the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Maraga will not become president. He will be made to be president.
Okay.
Okay.
What does that statement imply or mean?
It means that the people who make people presidents will make him. Because the presidency is a club. Political class is a club. And even in that club, there are tiers of engagement. We have the peripheral people who operate around power. Then we have, we always call them the saints, those ones who operate on the periphery. Then we have the sinners, okay, saints and sinners in power. The sinners are the ones who operate around the core. The core here being...
The sinners, you're talking about Sudi, you're talking about...
Of course,
Komen,
of course.
You're talking about...
the King's Council.
The constant Raila.
Raila is the core.
Raila
sits at the core because anybody who becomes president needs him. For you to become president, you need him. For you to govern, you need him. You need him as an object of aggression. You need him as a stabilizing factor of governance. You need him either way. Okay, so he's at the core. In fact, Raila is the core of Kenyan politics. Yeah. And perhaps the problem with Kenyan politics.
The core of Kenyan politics and perhaps
the problem. Yeah, so why am I saying that Maraga will be made and he will not become? Because in becoming, in politics, you cannot take the elevator to the floor above you. You must take the staircase. And that means there's a pecking order in politics.
Yeah.
You cannot come into politics and day one you become president. Okay?
Okay.
Maraga is telling us that you enter elementary school today and then tomorrow you're graduating with a PhD from whatever university. That does not operate, it doesn't operate like that in politics. In politics,
we also have the Ukrainian meme lord who become the president.
You've seen how they've ended. Unless you want...
come on.
No.
You can't have the problem with Russia.
That is the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That there's a political establishment, there's a political order, there is a political club. And at that level, there's a lot of diplomacy that goes on. There's political diplomacy within the political ranks.
Okay.
And that is why I told you, for example, someone like Raila Odinga operates at the core of Kenyan politics, okay? That he has back-channel communication lines that he communicates with to the state, and the state communicates with to him, okay? That means he has some power which the state recognizes. Is a threat to the state. Whether he's in or out, he's a threat to the state. Because he operates, is so powerful without responsibility. And that goes without saying, that it does not mean he's not a responsible leader, just that he has too much power. Because so many people have anchored their hope in him. Okay? So the interests of the political club are always the interests of the people, or they're always what are masked as the interests of the people. So then the question becomes, what interest does Maraga stand for, or does Maraga represent? Up to this moment, I don't think Maraga represents any interest that occupies the creation of a state or the establishment of a state. Okay?
Can you expound?
Good. So when you establish a state, remember we're in a democratic state, and a democratic state, democracy is insurance for the capital market, or for capitalism, as I said to you yesterday. For this to operate, for the country to operate, those cartels are basically organized businessmen. Those cartels who operate around the several capitalistic entities then determine who will best represent their interests, and they choose one of their own. Why is it important? It is because there's the question of logistical challenge when it comes to presidential campaigns. Two, the interests that are at play when you're talking about presidency are not just about voters. No. Voters are the pathway. The interests are too huge. The interests will start from international interests, because Kenya occupies a very special position in East and Central Africa. Right now, as I said, Kenya is trying to put its feet all over. You can see them in Sudan, in some little war there. You can see them in Tanzania. You can see them going even for the AU seat. There's a level of foreign policy that Kenya occupies, which is different from many states. And that means that the international players have their eyes on Kenya. Kenya is also very close to Congo. And as you know, Congo is the richest country in the world. Richest. Which means they have too much minerals which are to be exploited, okay, or which are to be made meaningful.
The richest, the wealthiest on paper.
Wealthiest on paper, of course, it's called money on paper. And the reality is that actually they are, if you look by estimation, they are, because they have Coltan, which basically is in your laptop, is in my phone, is in every electronic we are using, is in these cameras. Okay? They have everything basically that, in terms of minerals that we need. Now, that said, Maraga does not represent the interests of the capitalists.
What are the interests of the capitalists?
The stock market exchange.
And why would Maraga be disqualified from that?
Because what stake does he hold in that space? What business does Maraga run?
But does he have to? But why do you have to have a business there to support the entity or the industry?
Because politics is not fundamental. Okay, and that's why I termed him as a fundamentalist.
And because so this is what I am trying to understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That you are saying that I do not like phones, or I do not have a stake in a phone, so therefore I don't even know whether this is the correct analogy that I'm trying to do. Because the assumption here is that you're thinking that Maraga, should he become president, then is going to sabotage that industry.
No.
Then why?
No. Just listen. What I was explaining is that Maraga, as at now, does not represent or does not hold brief for the interests of the capital market. He doesn't have a stake in it.
Then perhaps I asked the wrong question then. What is the right question would be then, what are the interests?
Exactly. So the interests are, of course, the money, profit, and business access to government tenders, especially the huge tenders. If we talk about things like sovereign bonds, when the country wants to raise sovereign bonds, the people who are important in that play, the people who want to do public-private partnerships, is Maraga a player in that field? Not yet. So these guys, these players, can only agree and say, for the best interest of what we want, or for our interest, we are going to support Maraga. That's what I'm saying. Maraga will not become. He will be made a president.
If I understand you correctly, it is not that Maraga is perhaps going to throw cold water into whatever business they want to do, but they're suspicious of his move.
So they will have to summon him and sit with him in a closed door. Because one of the things that Maraga is most likely to do if he becomes president, or when he becomes president, let me be a little bit optimistic, it is to recover the stolen money that has been stashed. Okay. Now thieves would like to sit with him and tell him, we are seeing that you're a possible candidate and we would like to make you the president of this country. Remember, the people who walk into minister's office in this country and they tell ministers, give me this, or if you don't give me this, you'll be out of office. And the ministers have to comply. And they're not people who are in the media or what. They're just the men who operate in the shadows. But they're the ones who pull the strings. Okay? So these guys can call Maraga and tell him, these thieves, that, hey, we've stolen so much, and our money is abroad, some is here, Ukileta mchezo, we will just pull a little bit of that money from the market. So we want you to protect our interests.
Okay.
Do you think Maraga can protect their interests? Him being a fundamentalist. He might dilly-dally. Why might he dilly-dally?
Because he's a man of God.
Exactly. And we moved from the religious state years ago, in fact, centuries ago. We are now in a secular state. Now, in a secular state, you must compromise. Does Maraga look like he can compromise?
He doesn't look like somebody who can compromise.
But he can be trained to compromise.
He can be trained to compromise.
Okay?
Perhaps the question that he will be asking himself is, what do I have to lose? I am 72. And I want to make something right before I am 80 or 85. Therefore, fuck these motherfuckers.
Of course, he could say that. But then that is how he ends up serving half-term. And I explained to you how you can serve half-term. It's very easy. Just have 200 to 300,000 people in the streets going to the institution of governance, which is Parliament, Supreme Court, and the State House, and you're done.
Are you assuming that these people can buy 200 people to be on the streets?
No, you can create an agenda that drives 200,000 people to the street. For example, today, if you hoard some particular products from the market, you're likely to see people in the street.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you hoard fuel. Who are the biggest players in the fuel industry today? Do you know them? We may not mention them for legal implications, but some of them
can take you to court for saying that they are the guys that are controlling fuel.
And it can, especially what I want to say next is what can make them take us to court.
Okay, say
because
next.
We don't want that call again. We don't want that call again.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So these players can decide and, for example, hoard fuel. Now, once you hoard fuel, the country goes into a crisis because fuel is what drives the economy. Cars must move, people must move from point A to point B. They may decide to pool their resources from the public. For example, public transport in this country, which is a national security issue, is in the hands of private people. You are aware, right?
Transport is a
national security issue.
How?
Look at any country across the world. Public transport is in the hands of who? The government or the private people?
The government.
The government. Why? If you paralyze transport, you're paralyzing the operation of government.
Goods can't move.
Goods can't move. Services can't be provided. So if Matatu Owners Association, for example, who are majorly some very serious people, decide as a matter of interest, we are grounding all our vehicles, they're not going to move. It's a free market. Remember, capitalism is is basically a free market.
You can't
compel them.
Yeah.
It's willing buyer, willing seller. So he pulls or they pull their matatus off the roads. What happens? Service is paralyzed. And they say we want to do it strategically for 5 days or for 2 weeks. Okay? Fuel, akuna. Then the biggest supplier of food that people eat. And you know food is also a national security issue. So they withdraw food from the market. Or they hoard food. Crisis. So it can be crisis after crisis. You can talk about the media. You can talk about what. If the media decides to shut down, what happens? Because they can shut down. The mainstream media.
The country goes dark.
The country goes dark. Now, when the country goes dark, what happens?
You don't know what's happening.
Panic sets in. Now, when panic sets in, what happens next?
I don't know.
Anarchy. So guys will start palpitating. What's happening? We need to know. So they go to the institution of governance, which is the representative, the police, whatever. They want to access to get information from these particular institutions. And they're not getting this information because even these policemen also do not have access to that particular information. So blackout, gone. So the private sector, or rather the capitalistic infrastructure of our politics, then makes Maraga to sit down with these guys and learn to compromise. Because up to this moment, I can tell you, Maraga does not know the word compromise. So if he understands how to compromise, he'll be made president by the capitalists. That is one part of the game, which is also the most important one. Like I can tell you, off my head, that the richest people in this country come from Muranga. Billionaires who control a large chunk of this economy come from Muranga here. There are a few guys. Yeah, Muta. They can they can decide to run down the economy and that's it. Okay?
Yeah.
So now that's one sector. Then the next sector is the religious people. Why is President Ruto facing a very big challenge today? One of the biggest contributors is the religious. Because remember, Ruto was taken to presidency by the church. Largely so.
Yeah.
Okay? Now when the church decides to pull away from you, what happens? Does Maraga have that advantage? Yes, but there's a question. I am an SD and I will speak about this quite genuinely. There is something called pontification in religion. And my church, the SDA church, is operating as a lone ranger in this question of religion. In fact, there's a level of puritanism which is nearly borderline narcissistic, where everybody else who's worshiping on Sunday is viewed as an outcast. A pagan doing wrong things. And when we have a candidate, because churches have a big part to play in politics. In fact, you cannot separate the church from politics. The Catholic Church plays politics. The AIC, which President Ruto comes from, plays politics. Your church, where you worship, plays big time. And they even receive funding for politics. Does the SD church play politics?
Almost zero.
Exactly. Now, that is an important factor.
That's a disqualification for Maraga.
That is a disqualification. So for him to qualify, then the SDA church, which I come from, must integrate, must recognize that they're not alone and they're not the holiest. Everybody is a sinner. And we are going to God every other time to praise that we are forgiven. So we must recognize that these other people are also praying in their own way. So we must have an interdenominational something that brings the churches together. If Maraga is going to come up as a candidate of the church, because he has a strong possibility of coming up as a candidate of the church, save for that my church can deny him that chance to become the president of this country.
When you say that the SDA does not play politics, what exactly does that mean? They don't vote?
No. They vote, of course, but they largely maintain neutrality in issues. You've never had SDA Pastors Council come to release a statement about things that are going on in the country, or
which is a terrible stand.
Which is a terrible stand, because in moments of atrocity such as the one that we are facing, you cannot afford neutrality. And this SDA church is literally neutral and silent. They need to come out and participate in the governance of the nation. Prayer alone is not enough. The church,
or in 2027, come out and strongly support the
Of course,
candidate.
the church cannot be, or the country cannot be run on rosaries, Bibles, and prayers. You must take a position and you must support. That is why, if you look at something like the Catholic Church, for example, they invest in infrastructure of governance as well. Wherever there's a Catholic church, you will realize there's a school, there's a hospital, there is some charity, either a Cheshire where they're helping the lame people, the disabled people, etc. Yeah? But this church where they are, do you see anything around them?
They don't have schools?
They have. Like I can tell you where I studied in Form 1 and Form 2, Gendia High School.
Gendia Hospital.
Gendia Hospital,
Gendia Hospital is theirs.
Yes, it's a mission hospital, okay? But they need to increase it for them to actively participate, because what is the stake that they hold? The Catholic Church holds the stake because they own mission hospitals, which is 30% of the hospitals in this country. Are you aware of that? Okay? And they also own schools. Some of the best performing schools in this country are owned by the Catholic Church and also other churches. But the SDA is maintaining some level of neutrality, which is shocking, which can deny their candidate a chance, because purity and integrity is not enough. Politics is beyond purity and integrity. In any case, politics is dirty. It requires you to come in with very many aspects.
I want to go back to the dirt of politics, but let's look at the eligibility criteria for IEBC. That is a citizen by birth. So take for Maraga.
Maraga qualifies, yeah. He comes from Kisii.
Must have attained the age of 35 years. That is take for Maraga. The registered voter, I believe he's a registered voter, might be registered as a voter in some constituency, And then university degree, he has that one. No foreign allegiance. Can you explain to me what this means? But not all allegiance to a foreign state. Can you explain what that means and if Maraga qualifies?
Correct. Maraga qualifies on that ground because he has not outrightly said or indicated that he owes allegiance to an extra or an outside power or a foreign power. That means he's not operating at the behest of, let's say, Russia or Germany or America, okay? But he may need to align, though.
But when they said that Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was a socialist,
it's a political ideology.
It was a political ideology. Not allegiance.
No, not allegiance. It's a political ideology. In fact, Jaramogi used so much of his relationship with Russia to bring so many resources to Kenya. So many of them. Yeah, so Maraga qualifies on that.
Public office restriction must not be a public officer acting in any state or public office other than president, deputy prime minister, or member of parliament.
It qualifies.
It qualifies? What does that mean? I don't understand.
That means you must not be a public officer at the time or 6 months to election. I think it should be 6 months to election.
6 months to election.
Yeah, I think it should be 6 months. That's why they're always told to resign. And I think they took it to court that it should not be told to resign because it's your right to go and contest. It's a right. Even you're allowed to run for office. So you should not be told to resign from your work. Then that is, if you're told to resign, it is like telling you that politics is bad. If you're going to resign, if you're going to contest, then leave the job. You need to be left with a job. At least you can take a leave of duty, an unpaid leave. Then you can come back in case you don't succeed. If you succeed, proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moral ethical standard must meet the moral and ethical requirements under the Leadership and Integrity Act.
Does not stand in Kenya, but it qualifies.
It does not stand?
Does not stand in Kenya, but it qualifies.
What do you mean?
Politicians are the most unethical people in this country. They have even no brains.
Dual citizenship.
He doesn't have. He's a pure Kenyan.
He must not hold a dual citizenship unless obtained by operation of law without capacity to opt out.
I know he's an advocate of the court of Tanganyika.
Yeah.
And the East African Community, I think something like that. Yeah, but does not qualify him.
Financial standing must not be an undischarged bankrupt.
Yeah, I don't think he's bankrupt. Though he was giving vibes of him being bankrupt the other day. By saying he'll only contribute 1 or 2 million shillings to his campaign.
And we are going to go to that.
That is really silly. People don't like poor people. Nobody wants to be associated with struggling people.
We have established in this country that perpetually voting for rich people is what has brought us to where we are.
Not really. Some rich people are good.
Yeah, no. Mental capacity must not be a person of unsound mind. This is pretty...
Very subjective.
Very subjective.
It should be subjected to a psychiatric...
Do they subject them?
They should. I think it should be in law. Because there's some people who are sitting in power and I think they should have been taken to my good friend to look at them before they were qualified.
Criminal record must not be subject to a sentence of imprisonment of at least 6 months.
Clean. Maraga qualifies.
Yeah. Abuse of office must not have been found after due process to have abused or misused state or public office or contravened Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
He has never.
Yes, never.
Yes, no, he's a fundamentalist.
Yeah. Dismissal from office.
He's very prudent. He's served mpaka retirement.
Yeah. And then there is a nomination pathway.
Yes.
Nominated by a party or is an independent candidate. What is his party? What is Maraga's party?
Not yet declared. And most likely, it may not be an independent candidate.
He may not be.
He may not be an independent candidate.
He will have... I have a feeling of something going on. Seke.
Yeah, there could be a second. He could be a candidate of the state. I will not be surprised to destabilize somebody in Kisii.
I doubt he would be I doubt he would be a candidate of the state, but he would be the candidate of the state without knowing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It could be a candidate of the state because the state can support.
When you say candidate of the state, that's a state-sponsored candidate.
Can I tell you how he can be a candidate of the state?
Okay,
remember during the Sabasaba demonstration, or just before that, the June 25th, anniversary, Maraga was given some ample time to work with those the mothers who were, of course, grieving for the passing of their children. And they walked up to some distance, and the media covered them nicely, and their message was out there. Then it was time to remove him. So also to not make it so lazy, they had to tear gas him a little. But they gave him some quite ample time that they never gave the rest of the people. So already there are indicators. But I'm not saying, I'm not branding him. I'm just saying, maybe I'm analyzing. That's why you called me here, to analyze him. He could be a candidate of the state.
I think he could be the candidate of the state without actually knowing there is a candidate.
And it is important to have him as the candidate of the state. And that's why I said Maraga can only be made president. He cannot become. Okay? Because if he's not the candidate of the state, that fellow called Matiang'i needs to be neutralized in Kisii. Because if he's not neutralized, he's going to negotiate for something huge and can simply bring the vote of the Kisiis. And remember, this is not the first time a Kisii is attempting to become president. They have attempted in 2002.
Okay.
Nyachai.
Supporter endorsement, electronic and printed copy of not fewer than 2,000 voters from each of the majority of the counties. Is he going to get 2,000 for each county?
Yeah. He can get. The fundamentalists like him and the SDA believers are too many.
Too many.
Yeah.
Nomination fees, he's going to afford that 200,000. He has already said that he's got 2 million.
Yeah, he should stop that thing. Okay. Yeah.
Required documents, he should have certificate, degree of certificate, national ID, blah, 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 duly signed. All that shebang, he has those ones. Party candidate specific. Nomination certificate from a fully registered political party, duly signed and dated.
So that's why he has to form a party. That's why I said I don't think if he could be independent or if he could just run.
Yeah, and then of course that political party will clear him.
Yeah.
Clearance certificate from register of political parties. Certifying.
He's a surprise candidate for me.
Surprise.
He's a surprise candidate. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How so?
He's a surprise candidate because there are two factions in the state now who are pulling different sides. And they could make him president. Remember Kibaki in 2002 was not even the candidate of the NAC alliance.
He was not.
He was not. Nyachai was.
But that is why I'm telling you that 2027 might have a lot of upheaval.
Yeah.
Especially with the seke of the Gen Z movement.
Yes. Yes. Because the capitalists also know that for them to sustain their free market, they may need to excite the market.
I really want to understand whether stealing of votes is a viable route to presidency for
which country?
For Kenya in 2027, because I feel like it's going to be one of the most difficult things to do.
If stealing of votes was a thing, Raila would be president today. What is 200,000 votes, my friend? Raila will be president today. And that thing I observed in 2022.
Are you saying that the votes were never stolen in 2022?
No, Raila did not steal and Ruto did not steal. Anybody who is saying that is lying. Ruto became president in 2022. Nobody stole the votes. If somebody's saying that, then let them give us the evidence. They went to court, and we went to court actually. Oh, and let me tell you, we were actually called at the secretariat in Azimio days before the declaration of the win. And we started scouting for cases that we were going to file a case. I was surprised. Why are we looking for mistakes, whereas the election has not even been called? This is almost 3 days to the main announcement to 15th of August. And we went and we were combing. We couldn't find. We were downloading from 32 or those things. And we were trying to see.
Downloaded all of them.
And I can tell you.
Two things are many, but
We downloaded. And we analyzed. We couldn't find even one case. We did. Those who were with me at the secretariat know this very well. We didn't find any case of a mismatch in those Form 32. Not one. We went to court with a performance. That was a dramatic.
But you see now.
Yeah. Dramatic. What was that?
How about in 2017?
2017, there was an attempt. And IBC shot itself in the foot. But again, we learn in the process. That's why I love the process of the Kenyan democratic space. Because IBC did a fundamental mistake. The question was not on the numbers. 2017 question was not on the numbers. It was on the process. And particularly, what stood out for me was the security serialization of the Form 32As. Because some had security, others didn't. And I wish you play a clip in this podcast. When I think Justice Smokin Wanjala asks Paul Muite on why serialization was done on some and not others. And then Paul Muite was answering by saying that it was out of abundance of caution that they did some and left others. And so lack of standardization was a doubt, because in court you always need something called reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
So there was reasonable doubt on the process of the election, for me, based on that one thing, nothing else. Okay? And so 2017 was not also lost on numbers, it was lost on process.
So there appeared to have been a monkey business going on.
Yes, even if there's no monkey business, there appeared to be a monkey business, but I can tell you, I didn't see that monkey business, save for they didn't have a bright lawyer.
Who?
Muite was not bright. It was destroyed by the judges. There's no need of even Wakina James Orengo asking him anything.
But it is 2017 that the annulment of the presidential.
That's what I'm saying. That Paul Muite was not a bright lawyer
for the government.
For IEBC, not for the government. For IEBC. Yes, he was representing IEBC.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court asked him, the judges asked him about this question of serialization, and he said out of abundance of caution. And that was fucking stupid from a lawyer. That should never have happened. Yeah. And they had to just nullify the election. Okay? This said...
What were the main reasons why the elections were nullified in 2017?
If you ask me,
yes.
I'm not an advocate.
No, but what do you know? Because you are in ODM, right? In ODM.
Yes, I've been in ODM. I was in ODM. I resigned, I think, 2 years ago. I was in ODM for a long time, before 2016, of course. And what I saw back then, because I was in the governor's campaign in Kisumu, I saw the question of process being a question. 1, 2. There's also a question of the returning officers, the county returning officers.
Yeah.
No, the constituency returning officers. I think that was, yeah. Those ones were bad because there was a change. There were some changes, and Justice Kihara or somebody made some funny decision in the night, and he was later rewarded by being made the AG by Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah? There was some funny games that were playing, you know? And of course you could read that this is actually bullshit. And so the judges were right, in my view, to cancel that election. The process was not right, but we got it right in 2022. We got it absolutely right. Now, one thing I want you to know about losers, political losers, always saying that they've been rigged. It is not that they were rigged. It is always a management strategy
for the millions of people.
For the millions of people who have hope in them. Because you cannot be supported to that extent. Then you just drop the mic and say, boom, we've lost. I'm gone. They'll be like, this guy.
But that's exactly what they do in mature democracies. Just coming out and congratulating the winner.
What happens after that? Do you ever see those guys vying again?
They don't vie.
They don't vie. Because you lost, man. You're such a loser. Go. Okay? So when these guys egg their supporters on, they want to sustain that support. Because that support is currency. And that support is what they use to negotiate.
Yeah, tulinyang'anywa.
Tulinyang'anywa.
Hii kitu ilikuwa yetu.
Yes. So they introduce a siege mentality amongst their supporters. That actually tulinyang'anywa.
Is this something that Raila has perfected?
Of course, absolutely. Absolutely. He uses it for negotiation. And last time I told you, a leader who negotiates is a dangerous leader. You need a leader who stands firm on his vision. Because why are you negotiating? For what? It's not a trade union. This is politics. Here we don't need negotiation. Here we need to take power.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we talk about the key provisions of Kenya Election Campaign Act 2013 and IEBC's role? So, they are supposed to regulate, manage, and oversee expenditure and ensure accountability of election campaign funds. I am taking you back to your point of ire against Maraga, saying that I have 1 million or 2 million that I will put in the basket, and the other Kenyans, I hope that they can come and help me with this. And then they're also supposed to prevent the dirty money. How far have they been successful in preventing dirty money in politics?
Well, they've tried by saying we should finance our own politics by the political parties fund. So by representation, the number of seats you get in parliament then gets you some percentage of the political parties fund. And you can see this time, I think UDA received 471 million. 471
million?
Yeah. And UDA as a party. ODM coming second at, I think, 300 and something million. Then we have Jubilee, Hivo, and including parties like DAPK also got some little money. And maybe into the future, we are also looking at independent candidates also getting political party financing. Okay? It's important. So, have they managed to stop dirty money? No. In fact, in the last 4 or 5 years or 7 years, money laundering in this country has skyrocketed. We have so many wash guys who are so nicely clean, and they live in Kilimani and Lavington, and they're so polished. And what is this money used for? Because it's just money that they don't know what to do with it. This money is used majorly for politics, and you see most of these wash guys going into politics currently. There's a constituency in Kisumu where you come from. I think that's where you come from. Nyakach constituency. Everybody contesting there is a wash fellow. Everybody contesting. Everybody. Except the current MP. Wash, yote. Okay? So, by that alone, they're money launderers. We're not afraid, Buana. You cannot scare us.
Okay.
Yeah, they're money launderers.
Okay.
So, have they succeeded in cleaning this, in stopping this thing?
Have they succeeded in promoting transparency to ensure parties and candidates are transparent about financial services?
No.
Have they set or enforced limits?
They always give limits, of course. IBC gives limits that for the presidency should spend this amount. Like I think in 2022 they said 2 billion.
But how? 2 billion?
Yeah.
4. The law says 4. 4
billion. Based on what baseline?
There is no baseline, but they are saying you should not go past 4 billion.
How do they know?
If you have gone.
No, how do they know that you should not go past 4?
No, but that's the law.
That's what I'm asking. I think the law should be repealed if that's the truth. That baseline, it should be baselined. Because, for example, Kisumu, or gubernatorial seats, in Nairobi, you need a minimum of 300 million.
300 million?
Yes. To campaign in Nairobi successfully, like you run for the period of the campaign, 300 million minimum. Minimum.
Okay.
MP seat in Nairobi, you'll need about 70 million. In Nairobi.
In Nairobi, 70 million?
70 million in Nairobi.
In Ushago, you need about between 10 to 15.
It depends with where you stand. If you have party backing, where your party is very strong, you basically need the party ticket.
And a little bit of money?
A little bit, like solidly.
5 million?
Maybe 10.
10 million?
Yeah, maybe 10. That is already if you have cars. Because let's break it down. For you to vie as an MP, you'll need to have around 3 cars.
3 cars?
Yes. So either you choose hiring or you buy. And they must be 4-wheel, of course. The Barabara is not very good. So if you buy, that's already above 15 million gone. Or that's if you buy mitumba cars. If you get the locally used, you're talking about 6 million, because let's say you buy them at 2. That is cheap.
Cheap.
Yeah, cheap. That's 6 million gone. Yeah. Then the staff that you're going to pay, you need like 6, 7, 10 staff members that are going to pay.
Who are the 10 staff members?
So you need.
In fact, this is a conversation that we need to talk about properly.
Yeah.
What you need for a presidential for an election, let's for a governor, we will serialize it.
Of course. So you'll need staff. This stuff, there could be security, of course, very important, because politics is a hunting game. You can be murdered. You need your communication people. You need your surrogates. Surrogates are actually paid. Surrogates.
Who are surrogates?
Surrogates are those who speak when you're not there, or those who, like when I'm campaigning.
What do you mean speak? Or you send to matangas?
Like, yeah, you send them to matangas. So they're actually called surrogates. They're not called matanga goers. They're surrogates, yeah?
Somebody called them matanga goers?
Yeah, you're calling them matanga goers, like you send them to matanga. You know, so they can represent you in town halls. We're not there. They can hold rallies on your behalf. Like when somebody sees them, they see you.
Oh, I see.
You get it.
See. So you'll have some very good, like 3 people that
like
are
3
always,
people.
Yeah, next to you.
And that means they have to dress very well. They have to operate like they are you. They have to move in some nice machine. They must be able to solve problems of the people. They cannot come there and say, in our politics, they cannot come there and say, oh, Jagiro wants to be your MP for this constituency. Then as you're living, as he's living, people are saying, but this poor mama here, us don't give us anything, but this poor mama here, her house collapsed yesterday. They need an immediate solution, because you must perform miracles, yeah, for you to be voted also.
Yeah.
So this mama here, her house has collapsed. We need help. And so your surrogate should be able to check out some 30,000 and say, my people, you know Jagero is Jagedo, a builder, yeah?
Yeah.
And this mama have been told that her house has collapsed. Here is 30,000 shillings for 20 iron sheets, and the rest is for timber. And then you guys can then construct, and the cheer goes on. If your guy is not able to do that, you can't perform miracles. You don't deserve leadership.
It is very interesting, Odhiambo, though,
Yeah.
because this is something I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
How do you... There is no accountability on the side of surrogates, because you go back and say that I give how much and blah, blah, blah.
You know,
because
you don't do those things. You just, of course, surrogates move with budgets, okay? I have employed surrogates before for a candidate who I was supporting before.
Okay.
And what you do is you identify the problems. The surrogate does not bring you the problem. You identify the problem, because you have your team that does that.
But you see the problem that you're having at the matanga of a woman whose house is sunk. That's not a problem that...
It's a problem that... and nothing happens in politics out of nowhere. Everything is well planned. Even that woman there is well planned. Don't joke. Her being there and claiming that house has whatever, it's well planned. My team already went there and did the rec and found that there's a woman who has an issue which can have a multiplier effect on the masses. So she's brought. And as my surrogate leaves, my people make sure that she shouts. That it is drama.
Politics is drama.
It's drama. Politics is drama. There's nothing about it. It's just drama. It's a show. It's performance. That's why Adolf Hitler...
That is why you keep having problems with Maraga, because he's not dramatic.
He's not dramatic. He's so boring. The guy needs to up his game. He needs to have some oomph.
Oomph.
He lacks oomph.
He's not that guy.
He's tasteless.
And he's not young enough to have a find a wiggle room.
He's young enough, even in how he presents. But he needs to understand a few things. You've seen him now starting to cook with Ombashi, the chef. He's starting to, yeah? He needs to acquire some texture and some taste. Otherwise, he's very lackluster. He cannot turn my head. And I believe no other, he cannot even turn the head of a lady.
Even more, Zomera. Okay, so now, I want to go to something else as we towards the end of this conversation. I did some research, yeah? And this is where I got the figure of you need about 4 billion.
Yes.
Or more.
Yes.
For a presidential candidate. Okay.
Also, that was your figure, not the state figure.
No. That's the IEBC. Should not go above.
That is on which election? 2022?
On a presidential election.
Since when? Because cost of things change. Like,
yeah, but
okay,
you see,
anyway,
but you see
continue.
that is how rigid some of these things can be.
Yeah, IBC is joking.
Okay, so I am asking the question: how much do you think a presidential candidate would cost? A presidential election would cost?
A presidential election would cost anything that the candidate would like to expend. Because one of the key issues, even if you look at the American election, is always the expenditure. How much do you expend? So if you outspend your opponents, you're most likely increasing your chances of winning that seat. That's why they outspend others on media in particular states. They outspend others on rallies. So even if the IBC sets limits, okay, that's from my secretariat, but how about my supporters? And what makes IBC think that my sponsor or my supporter will not want to hold rallies for me? I've reached the limit, but them, they're saying, come, spend, there's a rally. We've organized. It's very fluid. Yeah. You come. There's a plane at Wilson. You get into the plane, fly down.
That is expenditure.
That's expenditure, but you see that it's not easy to track.
So assuming, for example, how much do you think that Kenya Kwanza spent in last election? How much do you think that the other Ile Baba spent? How much do you think?
Now, that's a very good question. Kenya Kwanza outspent us in so many ways. And they were strategically spending. Ours, people went there to eat. People were eating. People were stealing money instead of spending.
What do you mean?
Like there's a question of the agent's fee, 600 million. You and I know that money was not paid to the agents. You and I also know that some governors who received some money for mobilization did not actually use that money to mobilize. So they're already limiting expenditure. But the other fellow, like I can tell you, do you know, UDA had an agent in polling booth 9 or polling tent 9, Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, where I vote, but ODM did not have a presidential agent in Kisumu.
Can you repeat that?
UDA had a presidential agent in poll booth 9, Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, where I vote, and ODM had none.
ODM or the coalition?
ODM had none. In terms of Nini, it's ODM that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Azimio. I'm talking about ODM. They had none.
But we should have had Azimio.
So why did they have that? Because remember, one of the biggest expenditures.
Did they have Azimio?
Maybe there were some. Maybe. But I didn't see. Because I asked. I was driving from Kisumu back to Nairobi. And I asked, where is the ODM agent? None. UDA agent? Yes. And remember, I was telling you that one of the biggest expenditures that we have during a political, political contest is always on the election day, the day you're voting, because you have to pay agents. How many polling stations do we have in this country?
I don't know.
I think we should check it up. You have to pay an agent, and you pay a minimum of 2,000 or 3,000. Presidential, I think, will even go upwards of 5,000 shillings. If you don't spend there. 2, UDA outspent us on the marketing. UDA spent in marketing extensively. Every billboard, 2 meters, 3 meters, billboard. It was Ruto and
Ruto Gachagua.
It was they coined something which was very difficult to chew, but they were all over, and the yellow color was all over. Okay, they were all over, everywhere. Billboards, literally in the whole country, they took it. As we had very few, sprinkled, yeah? And even their style of marketing was very youthful.
Very youthful.
UDA marketing was too youthful. Ours, we had niggers in suits, blue suit, stone blue, nice one. And another woman there in Kitenge.
Raila and Karua did not look good.
They didn't look good, that's what I'm saying. How do you show up in a Kitenge and in a suit in a presidential campaign where the youth are the majority? And you see Honorable Ruto there with this half, how do you call them? Those puff coats.
Yes.
And Angepa.
The fuck jacket.
Maybe that's why he's doing it to the country.
So, how much do you think they spent? Could it have been 5 billion?
Above.
Ruto
even had his own choppers, which one was being estimated to have costed above 1 billion shillings.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
That chopper that had night vision.
So anyway,
yeah.
I am taking you round and round and round, marinating you to come back to the thing that you're talking about.
Yes.
Where is Maraga going to get his finances? Look, I did a bit of research. I asked Maraga to get 4 billion, 4.4 billion from Kenyans to run his campaign. get 4. And if he were to get it from individuals, there would be 5, giving him each 800 million. 5 individuals, giving him 800 million. If he was looking for 100 million, he will need 44 people. If he needed 10 million, he will need about 500 Kenyans to come out individually and give him 10 million each. And for 1 million each, he needs 4,500 Kenyans who will come out and each give him 1 million. For 100,000, he will need 44,000 Kenyans to give him 100,000. For 10,000, he will need 500,000 Kenyans to come out and give him. And for 1,000, he will need 4 million Kenyans, 4.5 million Kenyans to reach a desired amount of money that is needed to do a presidential campaign.
It's a very wishful thinking. I like it. I like the way you imagine things and then you call them to reality. Because, and Maraga is one of those people who are very wishful in their thinking.
Okay.
Thinking very far out of the practicality. And that is a very dangerous kind of intelligence. It's called analytical intelligence. It leaves you on a rocking chair, keeps you busy but takes you nowhere. Because he's imagining that somebody would remove his 100,000 shillings to give him for what again? Whereas he's a fundamentalist. Okay, anyway, he needs that.
Okay.
And that forms...
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
That's a very, very interesting question. So then, based on what you are asking me, I will ask you, how many 5 people, who are the 5 people in this country who's going to give Maraga a B each?
SK Masharia, Peter Munga, Equity, Devki, Steel.
Devki still does not belong to...
So you asked me who have the money.
Okay, who have the money?
Manu Shendaria.
Okay.
Who else?
And Raila Odhiambo.
Never forget. That's receiving teller only.
Okay. So now you got them. So the question is, why would I give you 1 billion?
Thank you. Now that answers the question which I was telling you, that Maraga will not become president. He will be made. So these guys say, okay, gentlemen, we want to make you president. We are giving you this. We want you in return to give us this. So he has to concede. That's what we call concessions. Politics is not what people see. The real politics is what happens behind. This that people see is called for press. I have had the advantage to be in the for press and in the back room. And real politics iko jikoni. Okay? So if these 4 guys, and remember Kenya right now has about $8,000 millionaires. So it's possible for Maraga to raise this money, because for you to be a dollar millionaire in Kenya, it means your money is not coming from salary. Your money is coming from business.
The most difficult part is finding 4 million people to give him 1,000.
That is an impossibility. Forget about it. It's a culture that will set in 2042 plus. For now, we still like, you want to buy? You're a man enough. Use your money.
I cannot give Maraga 10,000. You think I can't give Maraga 10,000?
Why,
but then it will be 500,000 of us.
People must be obsessed enough with the idea of Maraga to actually finance his politics. That's why he has to have some color. Up to this moment, he doesn't have. Remember, American politics is always financed by the people.
Somebody's going to say, I can't waste this money. I'm wasting
Of course. I would support him. I would even send him just for the... And you know, these political financiers, they finance all across the board. Like that Munga guy or whoever. They can support Maraga. They finance him. They finance Ruto. It is betting. For them, it is betting. Yes, they give a chance on all. Okay? So if they finance Maraga, does it mean that then Maraga having 4.4 billion is going to make him president? No. He could be the one with the lowest amount of money anyway.
At 5 billion.
At 5 billion.
Yeah, because I think Ruto anaweza chezea 20.
Above. Somebody who has access to confidential expenditure.
What is that?
in the budget making process.
Yeah.
The president has a confidential allocation.
He's not allowed to use it on elections.
What do you mean? What is it used for? Because the budgeting is confidential. Do you know the vote lines? It does not have a vote head. It is not itemized.
How much is it?
It goes upwards of $1 billion every other year. And then, remember, that is one. Remember, there are also security agencies which have unaudited accounts or unaudited budgets. Like one of them has 45 billion. I don't want to call them. They called me last time. The other one, which is the military, also has an audited expenditure. They don't even operate under the civil rule. They operate under military rule. If they do a mistake, they're taken to military court martial. They don't taken to these are our high courts for misappropriation of funds. Who buys the guns? Who does the tenders of the guns? This guy is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You guys, do you understand how this thing runs? These guys are the ones who typically run the budgets of government. So if he has, let's say, I don't know, military was allocated how much this year, but let's say they're allocated, let's say 100 billion unaudited. And let's say 50 billion goes to salaries. 50 billion is up for spoils. That's why you see whenever chief of defense forces leave, they leave very rich extremely. They own ships in the whatever, they own estates abroad. They're always extremely rich. Extremely. That extreme richness does not come from salary. It comes from unaudited expenditures. So Ruto could be operating even on 30 billion.
30 billion.
Yeah. Plus, he does not need to expend anyway. What does he need to expend on? Because he has the instruments of coercion, which means he can force you. I told you this last time. He has the instruments of arbitration. He can
call you to the table.
He can go to the table and take tea with you. He has the instruments of manipulation. He has the media that he can say, hey, I can shut you down. What do you mean? Limuru. Wakanyonge hao.
I'm switching.
Una switch on ama tuna switch. Walimwambia switch off.
I loved it.
So can you imagine somebody who has all that?
Okay. Let's talk about Gachagua. Gachagua might come. He was in the United States looking for funds.
Yeah.
Why do they always go to the United States? Can you tell me why?
Diaspora has some money that is interesting. Every year, I think we receive above 5.6 billion shillings or dollars from diaspora remittance. Those guys have money. They just have money. Money. It's there. You need money to run your campaign. But Gachagua is what? Gachagua is like
maybe 10. And he's more enticing. He's got life.
Gachagua has character. I don't know whether he has life. He has character. He's so lively.
Yeah.
He's quite a thing. He's a Raila of 2002. I don't know if he's a Raila of 2002. When
I equated him to Raila, and people of the internet did not agree.
He's a Raila of 2002.
They said Raila incarnate.
You see the problem, Osipna, is that opinion is the lowest form of knowledge. And these people of the internet, each of them has one. And politics invites everybody to the table. Even people who don't understand it come to the table to talk. So we welcome the opinion, don't mind them. Gachagua is the Raila of 2002 in 2027. He has character but no life. So even if he raises 10 billion, unless the opposition pulls in on one front, it's a waste of time.
So Maraga is supposed to go and get 5 billion, upwards of 5 billion from the people of Kenya or from a select few.
Yeah.
And the select few would have analyzed him completely.
Oligarchy is the best way for capitalism. And so Maraga must then operate with the oligarchs of Kenya and agree with them, those ones who own the banking industry. Those ones.
At what point are we going to hear seke from the oligarchs? At what point would they look at Maraga and say this guy has got something going on?
Remember,
we need to take his stock.
Remember, the oligarchs are always doing constant research, factual research. Wachana here media. They do constant factual. They hire McKinsey, Boston, whatever.
Really?
Yes.
For Kenyan politics.
What do you mean?
Oh, come on, you are lying.
Matiang'i has hired who to do for him his campaign strategy?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's a
Canadian firm, yeah?
It's public knowledge.
It's public knowledge. Uhuru hired Cambridge Analytica.
Those were
Cambridge Analytica. No, they're not crooks. They made President Trump a president in 2016 or 17. So these oligarchs actually hire.
Where did we hear this? We should talk about this then.
Someday.
Is something we should talk about.
Yes. Let me tell you, for example,
okay.
In 2022, I ran a campaign as a consultant, not as a supporter, and it won. So what makes you think that these guys do not hire consultants to win elections?
I know
yes.
They win. I know they hire.
So oligarchs.
But
oligarchs hire.
Okay.
They hire McKinsey. They hire Deloitte. They hire who?
To tell them.
They hire contract research organizations
Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about there, therefore, is what research does to your candidacy.
Oh, good. That's a very important one. Important one.
On that note, can we finish the podcast because it is 1 hour?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. All right, people of the internet, I can see that you started loving political headache, and political headache is now doing seke.
Doing seke. I need to learn what this seke thing is.
So please consider subscribing. If you want to come here and debate with us and talk to us about politics, please come and be on this table with us, and then let's influence the politics of 2027. Why not? Until another episode, bye for now.